So it was obviously a disappointing loss. How disappointing was it, though, Michael?
Well, and just to answer to what Dak just said, you know, he says it's a long season and the season's not over, but it felt like season ending. That's exactly what that felt like, season ending. And let me expound on that, why I said it felt like season ending. I spoke about it. I know right here that the Cowboys defense were going to have problems stopping any and everybody. They're having problems giving up the run game last and stopping the run, everything. But I thought, personally, if we can just get those two on track, Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, that's the catalyst by which we will win. And we did get a good game out of those two. CeeDee had 146 yards, 17 targets. He had a good game, and it still came up short. Now, early in that game, I had a little hope when they were up 7-3 and they went down and had a shot to get the touchdown, and tight end didn't bring it in the end zone, and they kicked that field goal. And I said, that's going to hurt. Because then if you got in that touchdown, you're up 14-3, maybe you put a little pressure on Brock Purdy, who's got a lot of guys missing, and he makes some mistakes and get you some opportunities and give you some passes, some interceptions. But that didn't happen. So, yeah, to me, ultimately, it felt like season ending right there. And it feels like that right now, this Monday, as I sit right here. I'm hoping and praying that some way, somehow, that something can happen in the next few days in the trade deadline. But I know it's possible, not possible, not probable that it's going to happen. But that's the last little bit of hope I'm holding out on, because that felt season ending. When you do your best, go through your best channels, and they come up short.
Damn, Joy, I hate seeing a playmaker like this.
I know.
So
yeah, I hate being like this. don't worry about it. I hate being like this, man. Listen, hey, dude, listen. And walking through the airport, all them people, I'm coming out west. A whole lot of people coming out west from San Francisco, coming back this way from San Francisco. So I walked through the airport like this today.
Oh, you got your Canes headphones?
Yeah. I ain't hear nothing. Don't tell me nothing about nobody. We're only going to talk about the champion, 8-0 Miami Hurricanes. I didn't want to hear it. It's been difficult.
Oh, gosh, I love it.
Key, how disappointing was this loss?
Yeah, I would say it's very disappointing.
Did you disagree with what Dak said?
Yeah, I think the season's. I feel like the season is over for the Dallas Cowboys. There's nobody. What are they going to do? They're going to go trade for like 9 players? Because there's nobody out there that's going to help them. I understand what Michael is saying.
Right, one hole. They got so many holes.
They got all these holes. We're going to get 9 different players? I mean, like, come on now. I mean, it's very disappointing. I picked the Dallas Cowboys to win this game against San Fran, given the fact that San Francisco was going to potentially be without 4 of their best skill position players. Although Deebo Samuel wound up playing in the game, they still are missing Jennings and still Ayuk and no Christian McCaffrey. So when you start looking at that, you think obviously the Dallas Cowboys are going to win the game.
Yeah, and even the guys that played are banged up, right?
And even the ones that played are banged up. So you know, I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay, they got to win this game. They know they got to win the game. They know they got to win the game.
Yeah.
And then they go out there and they kind of lay an egg and disappoint the situation. You start to look at, you know me, I start looking at schedules. And I start looking at, in Atlanta, Atlanta wins against the Bucks. They go to Atlanta, so they play Atlanta. Atlanta's not chopped liver like we might have thought at the beginning of the season. We all laughed and poke fun about Kirk Cousins and what the case may be.
Atlanta, I think we all kind of picked them to win the division.
Yeah, but I'm saying they could win the division winning 8 games. That's the way, because it was a bad division.
Yeah.
Then you start saying, well, Philly's starting to look like Philly, right? What's that recipe that hurts Dallas running the football? Everybody that beats them feels like they rush for 200-plus yards. Everybody. It's like 200 yards. Where you want 200? Oh, we got Dallas on the schedule? Okay, we'll be fine. We'll get 200. Then you go from Philly to Houston. Then you got the Washington Commanders. So they next 4 games, and I hate to say this, they can come up with L's. They can go 0-4. Yeah. That's crazy to think about. And you just paid all that money for a quarterback, all that money for a receiver, and you still can't get a W in San Francisco. Still can't get it. It's crazy to me. I don't get it, man.
Well,
well, it's disappointing as to how they lost, and because you felt like if they was going to turn this season around, this had to be the game. You know, with all the injuries like we talked about, with coming off the bye, rested and everything, but it's how they lost. You know, you looked in the first half, I was like, oh, okay, they got a chance. You know, they playing some defense finally. Then second half, it was like, you know, no offense or defense. When San Francisco comes down and scores 3 straight touchdowns, and it's like, oh, wow, here we go, back to what we used to seeing the Cowboys do. And so that's the most disappointing part about it. And then you look ahead of the schedule, and it's like, wow, you see no light at the end of the tunnel. So, you know, it's definitely disappointing because you think with all that's going on with Jerry Jones and Dak contract situation that the Dallas can come somehow salvage their season. But I felt like this was the one game. If they can make this game, and they were only 3-3, the one game, if they win this one game, it can turn the season around. And I just didn't see anything positive in the second half to say they can do it.
I don't know that I am actually that disappointed, but I think it's because my expectations have been adjusted. And they might have been adjusted the moment that the game was over. I thought that they could win this game. I thought this was a game that they, of all the matchups that they've had with San Francisco, that we could win this game. And who cares if it counts because everyone's hurt or whatever. A win is a win.
Right, mentally, you know you beat the team.
And it matters. Like, this point in the season, how the season has gone. This is a team that is still going to be prepared for whoever's on the field. But my expectations for the Cowboys have adjusted. I no longer think of them as a contender. So I can't continue to play with the narratives of what they were supposed to be or what the expectations were coming into the season. When you're looking at the things that they are struggling with, we could have predicted that before the season started. So who's really responsible for what the issues are? They rushed for 56 yards yesterday. Brock Purdy himself ran for 56 yards. Yeah. When you looked at the running back room coming into this season, we talk a lot about how Derrick Henry is doing this year, right? And then Jerry's saying Derrick Henry doesn't fit their style of offense. Okay, cool. Why didn't you go get a running back that did fit with the offense that you run? Like, that choice could be justified in a room of smart football people, right? Like, yeah, he's a great player, but he doesn't fit our scheme. But you didn't want to go get somebody that did fit the scheme because you didn't do anything. You didn't do anything. You only have one true playmaker in CeeDee Lamb. He gets all the attention. Everyone knows that's who Dak is going to. There's nothing else. So over the years, Jerry has put together some really great teams, some teams that are inexcusable almost that they didn't do better in the postseason. Last year, I think, was his crown jewel over the past few years. So that 9 All-Pros, Dak has his best year. The defense is incredible. 16 straight home wins, and then it burns out in the playoffs. But this year, that's not what you did last year is not an excuse for what's gone on this year. So I don't know that it is that disappointing because looking at it coming into the season, we could have predicted this.
And magnified. All that you're saying is magnified because not only did you not do anything in the quarterback and the running back room, you didn't do anything at all. At all. There was no movement for the Dallas Cowboys at all this offseason where people could sit back and say, oh, we got better here, we got better there. And I thought, after coming off a 12-win season, that, okay, you're still carrying over the base of that.
Right.
But I didn't think that it'll get to this.
Do you think the contracts had something to do with them not adding to what they already had? Because he knew he had to sign Dak. He knew he had to sign CD.
You can sign anybody you want to sign. All you got to do is play with the money.
Yeah.
That whole we don't have money, that's cap. That's all that is.
Yeah.
We don't have any money. We can't. If you want somebody bad enough, you can get the deal done. Because I'm going to take a little bit from you. I'm going to move some around from her. I'm going to grab a little from Michael, move it over here because I got cash. It's not an issue.
Yeah.
I can give you the cash. I can defer you. I can do all sorts of stuff.
Put it up front.
Yeah, I can do. I don't have a cash issue. Cash is not our problem. Our problem is being able to identify players that will help us get to the next level, and we failed to do that by even addressing the situation. The Kansas City Chiefs, guess what the Kansas City Chiefs do? They go out and they get a Kareem Hunt, a Juju Smith. They just went out and got somebody, they just traded for somebody yesterday. You know, teams that want to win, this is what they want to do. They don't sit back and wait for things to happen. They become aggressive. The Philadelphia Eagles are aggressive at building a roster. The Dallas Cowboys seem to just, I don't know what I really don't know what Jerry's thinking. I just don't. It's kind of, it's mind-boggling and pretty amazing just to see what Joy was talking about. You rushed for 56 yards, and you had Dalvin Cook that you brought up, but you didn't even really give him a real opportunity yesterday. So it's just, I don't know what they're thinking, Michael. I have no idea.
That's also just one side of the ball.
Yeah, one side of the ball.
Because running the ball is a problem on both sides of the ball. Because they're the 31st
Stopping it too.
rushing defense in the league as well. So obviously we want to focus on offense and their inability to do that. But everyone knows what the Cowboys are bringing. You can run the ball, and you don't have to. They're not going to stop the run. You can run it. They can run. They're not going to be able to run it. They can control the line of scrimmage because they know that that's what's happening.
Everything. Whenever you're getting 5 and 6 yards a clip on first down, your whole playbook is wide open.
Right.
And then it's not only that. On the back end, they have guys running wide open. That's why, you have to address what's going on the team. The defense did play good early on. They played good early on, but is that because Brock Purdy's without all of his weapons early on? And that's why I wanted to, if you could just put them in pressure with him lacking all those weapons and see what happened. But Dallas couldn't get that done.
This is the same thing that they did last year, though. They beat up on the bad teams and lose to the good teams. But it ain't enough bad teams on their schedule right now.
Right. I don't know that there are that many bad, truly bad teams.
No, but I'm saying they beat up on Cleveland. Mm-hmm. That's what they would do last year, beat up on the Giants.
Yeah.
And then as soon as they play somebody that's good, they get beat up on.
Did the surge at the end do anything for you?
For who?
Man.
For you.
Come on, y'all. I don't play that game. That's the game that people play and always, well, we can build on the surge at the end. I understand what people do and trying to extrapolate something from that, but I also sit back and say, let's look at it in its totality. So what you're telling me is you couldn't do anything until all the pressure got off of you and you felt loose enough, then you start moving the ball. Since there is no avenue by which pressure is not applied to get to a Super Bowl, I call all of that fugazi. You see what I'm saying? All of that's machine to me. Nothing, get it out of here. Do it when it counts. That's what matters. Because
time to rebuild.
That's it.
It's time to rebuild.
Somebody said they should blow it up. They said they should just blow it all the way up.
But if you were...
Well, there are many ways you can blow things up, Key. You talking about getting rid of everybody. I'm talking about right now, let's go, whatever resources you got for the future, you can find somebody right now. Let's blow that up.
I don't think
and
as
bring
much
somebody
as the players, because I think the talent is in that locker room.
No, they need something else on offense.
They need to change the culture there. They need to change the culture. They need a new voice, just something, because I feel like the talent is in there. You don't just win 12 games, you know what I'm saying? You don't just keep winning and you bring it back the same personnel and maybe a few pieces go and come here and there, and then all of a sudden it's just, you get tired of that same voice when you don't get over the top.
Yeah, but you know
what I'm saying?
But if you beating up on Washington's every single year and the Giants every single year and those type of teams, you're going to get your 12 wins. As I said before, there aren't these guys that's coming down the pipeline, the Washington is a different team now.
Yeah.
This ain't the same Washington from the last several years. This is a different Washington team. So those free wins aren't on your schedule like they used to be. Mm-hmm. There won't be 12 wins that they can find on their schedule like they've been able to do in the past. In fact, they haven't even started playing divisional play yet. They're 1-3 against NFC opponents, and they have yet to play an opponent within their own division, other than the Giants.
But
that's it.
That's what Dak is talking about, is like the divisional play is coming up. Well, yeah,
that's
division
teams. But them two division teams are really good.
That's not a good thing anymore.
Let me just do a little pushing back on the idea and the notion that, now I'm as disappointed as anybody, but the idea and the notion that the Cowboys haven't really beaten anybody and they won 12, 36 games over the last 3 years. There's only 32 teams in the whole NFL. That just don't equate. But so they have, like y'all said, they have talent and they can play and win and beat. They've won in those situations. This year, there's something missing. This year, there's something missing. This team is nowhere near the 12-12-12 team is what I'm saying. Yeah. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree with you.
There's nowhere near that 12-12.
I agree with you, but they got 3 wins this year, and 2 of them is against a Cleveland team and a Giant team in a squeaker of a 4th down prayer at the end of a game against Pittsburgh.
Right.
That they won. I'll give them that. But it was oh, my God. That's what it was.
It was the last play of the game, yeah.
Yeah, it was oh, my God. So, coming down the pipeline, I must say it again, Michael.
Yeah.
You got Atlanta in Atlanta. You played Philadelphia at home, which could help you. You play Houston, and then you go to Washington. That's 4 games. you got to at least split that. You got to split that to even hold your season together.
Right.
If you go 1-3
But
or 0-4, you can forget it.
even with all that, like, what do they do well?
Yeah.
What is the identity of the
that's
Cowboys?
exactly how I started this conversation with what made it seem so season-ending to me. What they do well is goes from that
CD and CD. That's it.
And they did it well yesterday. They did it very well to a tune of 146 yards, the best they've done it all year long. And this was the result.
Right.
So that's where my hopelessness seeps in. And then my hopefulness is don't lose this opportunity. If you want to blow something up, blow up whatever you got coming down the pipe and do something to get some help. That's all I was trying to just give you.
Ugh, I don't like. We gotta get the Canes in the show today.
Let's talk about the
We don't
Canes.
like playmaker like this.
Man,
Let's talk about the Canes.
Playmaker down bad right now.
Let's talk about the Niners for a second. They've been plagued with injuries in part because of the physical style in which they play.
Be back up.
And it looked
Please,
like the Cowboys felt that, especially in the third quarter where the Niners had 3 straight touchdowns to start the second half. But Key, can any team or teams in the league match the Niners' physicality?
Yeah, I think the Lions and the Eagles can.
In the NFC.
In the NFC, I think.
That was
spooky stuff.
it was just
Yeah,
spooky.
I think that the Eagles and the Lions can. Look, the Eagles are the second most rush yards per game. The 49ers are the fourth most rush yards per game. And then you got the Lions, the seventh. And the Lions, they do a little bit of everything. But I think in terms of physicality, and when I think of physicality, I'm thinking punching somebody right square in the mouth.
Right.
Making them feel the pain when they come across the middle. Holding their blocks to guys can hit their cuts and get in the gaps. I think both of those teams, we're seeing it more now with Philadelphia. I don't have question marks as much as other people about Philadelphia's physicality or their offense because I see Jalen Hurts being able to throw the ball when he got his 2 guys that are healthy and Saquon Barkley in the backfield. And we obviously, Jared Goff is playing like an MVP, runaway MVP for the most part. And then you got Gibbs and Montgomery in the backfield. You got the tight end Laporta. I mean, you just got so much physicality and mental toughness with these 2 teams that, yeah, I think so. I think they can. Absolutely, 100%.
I'm with you on the Lions.
In Philadelphia, I mean, in the Lions should have beat San Francisco and been in Vegas last year any damn way. Dan Campbell screwed that up.
Yep, they had the game.
Dan screwed that up at the end.
I'm within the Lions and the Eagles. I think the Vikings defensively can match up with them. Washington is interesting.
Washington's another one that I think could potentially.
Well, I don't think of the Niners as the same team. It's not just, maybe it is just the injuries, but I don't think that they are the same team as they were last year. And they're not, their record actually reflects that. And as Paul said in the meeting, I'm not going to steal your thunder on the on the game, the Cowboys, but
Everybody looks good versus them.
Well, that is kind of true.
When you can run the ball and they can't stop the run, that's
what I said.
physical.
If I want 200 yards, who do I see? You can dial me up a Cowboy, man. I want 200 yards.
I usually measure
We need the Cowboys.
physicalness by, and it's all players, but I start in that offense and defensive line.
Yeah.
And most of the times when you look at it, you say, oh, what can Detroit offensive line do with San Fran's offensive line or vice versa? And that's a good battle there. You guys mentioned it. Minnesota's in that battle. I'll put Minnesota in there. Certainly in Detroit, but it's not a whole lot. It's not everybody now. They have a physical group up front, offensively and defensively. They have a physical group, but we got some teams in there, Detroit, Minnesota. Those teams can fight with.
Yeah, and they're all better than San Fran.
Right now, yeah.
Record-wise, they got a couple games on them. Because San Francisco stubbed their toe a couple times.
I'm interested to see what San Fran looks like down the stretch. Because even though that was a good win it was a win that both those teams really needed. San Francisco needed that win as well. I want to see how they build on it and go down the stretch.
Let me tell you how I think they build on it.
Weeks.
Let me tell you how I think they build on it. We question a lot of things, and I know it's still probably right around 500, but Brock Purdy is still got him going along, and he hadn't had all of these weapons that we accosted him with before. Like, you had all these weapons, you should be doing this. If you can win games now, and that's why I go back to saying put the pressure on him, Everybody was questioning, and he find wins now, and then you start getting your help back and get everybody back. That's how you build on this. That's how you say, we can remove that thing y'all been talking about that we couldn't remove before.
Subscribe here to get the latest from Speak, and go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.